Hello, 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 good evening, morning, noon or night, and welcome to the stream. Hi Lex, hi Sabella, hi Outer Space Reject, hi Amber, hi Yulia, hi Ghosty, hi Nix, hi... Hello everyone, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Alright, let me quickly swap on over. Hi Fido! But yes, hello! As you can see, tonight we are going to be playing the game called Touchstarved. Technically we're playing a demo. So I'll turn down the background music, mostly just because it's pretty loud on the game itself. Alright, so let's turn that off. Oh, hello Astor. Yes, you can have some pets, buddy. Right. There we go. But yes, welcome in. So we're going to be playing the Touchstarved demo, and all I know about it is it's a cool, edgy Ultimate game, and the art is really, really nice. The art is nice. Hi Shara, hi Samurai. How are you guys? Yeah, Fido. Oh. Yeah, unfortunately, Nix, I live in an economy that charges you $5 for a singular milk. I'm very much like, when it comes to my art commissions and stuff, like, only commission me if you have the means, really. Like, I have the free doodles if you're willing to sell me your time. But yeah, like literally, like art comms is a lot of it's just I don't have a lot of time, and I live in a really expensive country, because Australia basically charges you to breathe these days. So that's the reasoning behind my prices. Oh my God, Sharon, no going so broke you can't survive. Bad. Hi Ilka, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Yes, so tonight we're going to be enjoying some sweet, sweet Touchstarved no jutsu. Oh, that art's gonna come out looking good, Savella. Alrighty. New game. Right, let me actually bring this forward a bit. Right, disclaimers. Ooh, probably a good idea actually. How do I do that? Okay, alright. Okay, so it's got copyrighted music, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap. I love having my VOD proof noises. Alright, so I'll swap briefly. Oh yeah. Okay, so we're getting the trigger warning here. So as a heads up, guys, Touchstarved is intended for an older audience. It contains mature content that includes, but is not limited to, horror, graphic violence, strong language, alcohol and drug references, injury, and dismemberment. If these guys give you the squeaky, now is the time to run the fuck away. Hi Nanabi, hi Mai, hi 𝐿𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐫. How you doing? Hi Tiga. If you accept, click to proceed. Alright, I'm going in. Alright, in Touchstarved, your choices matter. The decisions you make may result in unique dialogue, interactions, or even choices in red text, which contain exclusive content. Try playing through the demo more than once and choosing different options. You might even uncover a secret ending. And remember, there are no wrong choices, only interesting ones. Choose wisely and save often. Oh no, Samurai! Your computer's like, nar. Alright. Okay, so wheel up, rewind text. Ooh, I like that there's rewinding text because I'm smooth brain. Right, wheel down, progress. That's good controls, that. Choose your name. Either. Submit. Ooh. Wait. Options. Sound. I think we want music to 0. Alright. Return. Then we can swap the audio back. And I might even be able to bring that back up actually. And even though it's alright, and my pronouns are he, him, because I'm basic. Honestly, Shara, I know, right? So many games are just like, nope, you've skipped it, it's too late, suffer. Alright. This world began to unravel long before you were born. Right, let me see if I can get like... There we go. Ooh. It began with fogfall. Spectral mist bled from the seams where reality wore so thin it split. And from that fog emerged monsters, inhuman beings with unnatural powers. Some possessed language and intellect, and others were mindless beasts driven by little more than the desire to slaughter. As cities fell and unrest spread, humans united in their fear while monsters thrived in the chaos. And then, there's you. You're not even sure if you're human. You were born cursed, with hands that alter the minds of anyone you touch. Choose your backstory.
Thanks. Good night, SPCTR, for the resub and the laugh. Snoodles offering some winged snake camaraderie for your enslavement here. Here's to more fun times ahead.
Thank you for the resubby, Ghosty. Keep enjoying those emotes, dear. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Right. Let's see if I can like. Alright, let me see if I can do like ominous background music. Let's see. Ooh, this might be perfect. Yeah, that's more like it. Alright, I swapped the background music to something ominous. Because this is an ominous game. Alright. Option 1. Hi, King. How are you? Welcome. Option 1. The Unnamed. You were raised as an oracle in a remote temple. The priest claimed your touch bestowed enlightenment, but a visiting mage revealed your curse for what it is. Following the mage's word, you fled in search of the cenobium. You regularly experience unnatural premonitions that rattle your body and soul. An innate sixth sense gives you a heightened awareness of hidden supernatural presences around you. Option 2. The Hound, a forsaken thief. You were raised by society's outcasts, criminals who accepted you when nobody else would. Your partner in crime, a friend since childhood, helped you steal enough money for a cure, then betrayed you. They left you with only enough coin to travel to the cenobium, your last hope. You have sharply honed social intuition. You can survive and even thrive in the violent underbelly of any city, using your experience with the underworld to get ahead. The third option, the Alchemist, an abandoned mage. An exiled Cenobian mage took you in as a child, raising you as her apprentice. She seemed to take pity on your curse, but you discovered that she was cultivating you as a test subject. You fled to the Cenobium seeking a cure. You're an experienced spellcaster with encyclopedic knowledge of alchemy, spellcraft, and history. With a little observation, you can identify the subtle effects of magic. Thank you for the follows, Spenix. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And welcome. Ooh. Ooh. I'll be honest, I'm kind of stuck between Hound and Alchemist. Those are the two that appeal to me. Because it's like, on one hand, Hound is like, oh yeah, I'm a cool thief doing thieving things. Then on the other hand, Alchemist is like, magic. What do you think suits me better? Do I have the cool thief energy? Or do I have mwahaha magic? And don't say that, Ghosty. That skews the scales, bruh. Hi, Danica28X. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate. Thank you. And welcome, welcome. Oh, you guys are right. Ooh. I mean, unnamed does sound cool. You're not wrong. You're more than welcome to exist.
Snoodle reckons both have their own charm. Alchemist brews up magic while a thief's all sneaky fun. Why not both for a dash of adventure, mate?
Alright, at this point, I'm convinced Snoodle's a fucking politician, because he is dodging questions like bullets. I'm not cool enough to be a thief. Fuck yo! Let's go with Alchemist. Confirm. My name is Aether. My pronouns are he/him, and my backstory is the Alchemist. Is this correct? Yes. The wasteland stretches as far as the eye can see. There's nothing out here but death, the ever-present stench of decay, and countless sun-bleached bones cast like seeds across the barren land. I could say death doesn't scare me, but to tell the truth, I'm desperate. It's been 2 weeks since I joined a caravan bound across the wastes. Finding a group that would accept me was a trial in itself. As rations grew sparse and my canteen ran dry, I began to despair. And then, I saw it. Iridia, the city of knowledge. One of the last bastions of humanity left in the world, and home to the famous academy called the Cenobium. All the world's knowledge gathered in one place. If there's anywhere I'll find a cure for my curse, it's there. All that stands between me and a cure is a final stretch of salt-soaked wastes. Or so I think, until I see the first tendrils of fog snaking beneath the wagon. Is this fog for? My stomach sinks at the very whisper of it. A silent storm more devastating than fire. Dangerous in cities, but a death sentence beyond them. A thick blanket of fog engulfs us, smothering out the lantern's light. The wagon lurches to a stop. An eerie silence heavy as the mist falls over us. The only warning we get is a strangled scream. Stay back! No! The cry dissolves into wet gurgling. Then, the wagon violently pitches to the side. I hit the ground hard, the air punched from my lungs. I grew faster. Thank you for the photo, darling. I appreciate it. And welcome, welcome. When I open my eyes, adrenaline lends sudden, awful clarity to the carnage around me. A trader I once shared bread with lies face down in the mud. They're back.
Thanks, SK-Fox152, for the resub and the hello. Snoodle's flapping his wings in greeting to you and the crew. Let's make it a grand time together.
Thank you for the subs, Sky. I appreciate it, darling. Thank you. Mwah, and welcome, welcome. A trader I once shared bread with lies face down in the mud. Their backs reduced to long strings of torn muscle, gleaming gristle, and exposed bone. Bodies litter the wasteland. I try to rise, but my ankle explodes with pain so blinding, white blooms across my vision. Only when my eyes adjust do I see the dark shape in front of me. A soulless stops over the twisted form of a caravana. I freeze, but it swells its head. A dozen bulging eyes twitch in my direction and blink as one. The soulless lets out an ear-splitting shriek and runs at me. But right before it reaches me, the beast barrels past, vanishing into the mist. Distantly, a horse screams in the dark. I need to move. Now. I'm gonna head towards the wagon. I take cover beside the wagon where the air is thick with greasy smoke. Fire eats through the gaping hull, spluttering when lantern oil mixes with brackish mortar. Every person I see is dead or dying. Except one. Oh, Mother, forgive our sins. Guide us into your hearth. We are worthy, we are worthy. A traveler grovels by the flames, their hands clasped above their head in a fervent prayer. I glance upwards towards the gauzy lights of Iridia, just visible where the fog runs thinnest. I don't pray, but the sight of the city is all the reminder I need. I came too far to die here. Rapid footsteps echo all around me. I turn in circles, frantically searching the opaque mist for the source, but the fogfall twists and stretches sound, and suddenly the caravan driver bursts forth from the fog. Our eyes meet too late. He slams into me, knocking me to the ground, and slips in a patch of mud. The soulless falls on him as soon as he slows. Catches the driver by his throat and rakes his stomach with razor-sharp claws. He comes apart like wet paper, spilling intestines and viscera in a screaming tide. Fighting the urge to heave, I claw frantically through the slippery muck for a handhold. Shit! My hand catches on the jagged edge of a rib jutting from the water. Bandages unfurl around the gouge torn deep in my palm. The pain's quickly forgotten when a hand closes around my wrist. Can you stand? The praying traveler leans over me. We need to run! They reach for my hand. They realize too late my bandages have come undone. No, no, don't touch me! The sensation of their thumb brushing the back of my hand sends a shiver down my spine. All it takes is one touch, and in the space of a breath, my curse takes hold. Their lips peel back into a deranged grin. No, I've seen this face countless times before. This is my curse, madness of my own making. The grip on my hand tightens until pain radiates from my knuckles. Let me go! Suddenly, clammy hands clutch my throat, choking off my breath. Die, 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 die! Spit bubbles at the corners of their mouth and flecks my face. The edges of my vision darkens as my lungs scream for air. My nails gouge deep into the traveler's wrist, but no matter how much blood I draw, they don't flinch. The more I struggle, the tighter their grip grows. My pulse hammers in my ears, slowly with each thudding beat. This can't be happening. I'm going to die. And not because of the fogfall of the soulless, but because of my own curse. Tears sting my eyes. No, 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 no. Not here. Not like this. Thank you for the follow, 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐫. I really appreciate it. Thank you and welcome, welcome. The hands drop from my neck, leaving me wheezing for air. My lungs burn with each ragged cough. My vision clears, and the traveler's face takes shape, hovering inches from mine, lips still split in that macabre smile, even as blood seeps between their teeth. I give one last shuddering breath, then slump over, the claws hooked through their stomach. The soulless shoves the body aside, the glowing eyes studying his leathery skin, thin as though grinning. There's a flash of cause, and red spills across my vision. I thought there'd be pain, but as I sink into the murky water, all I can feel is the grit of silt filling my mouth and the icy embrace of shallow water. Distantly, I notice an arm resting among an outcrop of reeds. Mine, neatly severed at the elbow. I should have taken both arms. Without them, maybe I could have survived. Maybe I could have had a home. Instead, I'll die cold, alone, and face down in a desolate wasteland. A fitting end for a monstrosity like me. Thank you for the hydrate, stretch, and save, 𝐿𝐶𝐶𝐿. I appreciate it. Thank you. Give it a save. Ooh, I should probably go get some more peppers, actually. You two, stop with your goblin behaviour. Naughty, both of you. Yeah, I see you, Comet. I'm probably Sabella with my luck. Alright. If this is death, it's not as bad as I feared. The cold is gone, as is the choking stench of bog water. I could drift forever, cocooned in oblivion, until all thought and sensation vanished. No curse, nobody howling at me in madness and terror. Nothing at all. The thought has a terrible appeal to it. But the next moment, I take a reflexive breath. Air pours into my lungs, then out again in a ragged gasp. Feeling comes flooding back, warm cloth on my bare skin, a firm surface underneath me, a strange tang of sulfur in the air. Do not be afraid. I twist my head towards the voice. Tears flood my bleary vision at the bright glow of the lamplight. Try not to move. The voice is calm, steady, and commanding. But more importantly, it's a stranger's voice. One thought cuts through my mental fog. I have no idea who this is, and I am completely at their mercy. Hi, Zinli. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Oh my god, you're not wrong, Smell. Stay away from me. My words come out in a little more than a creaky whisper. I clamp my mouth shut, hating how weak and helpless I sound. No. No? Who the hell is this? I manage to push myself up on one elbow, but my head swims and my surroundings give an alarming lurch. A stubborn patient. I don't have the strength to dignify that with a response. Instead, I pull the sheet up higher and wipe my eyes until my vision clears. The stranger towers over my prone form. Warm light reflects off his pristine medical coat. I instinctively shrink back, and that's when I notice that I'm completely naked except for a thin linen sheet. Naked, lying on a low cot, with a pair of sharp golden eyes watching my every move. The man's gaze flickers to my exposed, unbandaged hands. I plunge my hands underneath the sheet to hide them from sight, though it's too late. He must have noticed what they looked like. Strange. Cursed. Inhuman. I brace myself for his inevitable suspicion and disgust, but his expression doesn't even flicker for that courteous smile. He just watches, in placid silence, as I struggle to make sense of my surroundings. Where am I? Who are you? Be calm. You're safe here. Whoever this is, he clearly has no idea who or what I am. I've never been safe anywhere, with anyone.
Aw, thank you for giving. Hiya, sub Ghosty. I appreciate you. And also, welcome. Have fun lurking, my.
Even my own mentor, my teacher, thought I was nothing but a convenient specimen to be used and discarded. I scowl, pulling the sheet protectively around myself. Where are my clothes? The man's golden eyes narrow slightly. A sharp sigh rustles the papers in his hands. I see you are not to be dissuaded. Your clothes were torn to shreds when I found you, but I procured replacements. With a soft creak, he stands from his chair, giving me a better view of my surroundings. I seem to be in some sort of medical clinic. Bottles of silvery alchemical concoctions line the counters in neat rows. The air makes my nose twitch, a faint whiff of smoke and something distinctly metallic that I can't quite place. The doctor produces a large, dense bundle of cloth, which he sets at the foot of my cot. He's easily a head taller than most, and I have to crane my neck to look up at him. It's like I've got two choices. Thank you, and could you fuck off for a sec? I'm choosing the little bitch option. Could you step out? I lift my head, looking defiantly into those golden eyes. Could you step out first? I'm not getting dressed with you standing here. To my surprise, the man's mouth quirks. I was not planning on watching. Still smiling to himself, he disappears through a narrow door. I hear a soft click as the lock turns behind him. I count to 3 in the sudden silence, and when I don't hear any more footsteps, I reach for the bundle of clothes. An itch on my elbow stops me short. I reach down absently to rub at it, then freeze when my fingers meet a neat line of stitches. I know what I saw. That beast took my arm clean off. And yet my arm shows no sign of injury apart from the black stitches poking through my skin. I gingerly flex my fingers, feeling my heart race at the sensation. This is impossible. I should be dead, or at the very least, gasping out my last breaths. I squeeze my eyes shut, waiting for the pleasant dream to unravel, to wake up bleeding out in the swamp. But nothing happens. The seconds tick by, and my arm remains resolutely healed, my surroundings pristine and quiet. In numb disbelief, I reach for the replacement clothes and begin stiffly pulling them on. They're thicker and warmer than mine were, with a black woolen cloak to go with them. But there's one thing still missing. My bandages. The Golden-Eyed Man didn't leave me with any, even though I know he saw my hands. I slide off the bed and take a few unsteady steps towards one of the drawers. If this is indeed a doctor's clinic, there must be bandages somewhere. I start opening drawers at random, and of course, that's when the door swings open once more. Are you looking for something? I whirl around, clutching a thick roll of clean bandages. I try to step back from him, but my legs bump against the edge of the cot. Your caution is understandable, though if I meant you any harm, you would know. That doesn't make me feel better in the slightest, but he makes no move towards me, so I quickly wind the bandages around my hands. The glowing scars and mottled skin disappears under a layer of clean white cotton. May I ask why you need additional bandages? I clench my jaw. I knew it would only be a matter of time before he asked about my hands, though the way he does it is strangely roundabout. I can either, like, just say nothing, just be there, like, beep boop, me no comprende, or I can be like, fuck you! Decline to answer feels like the polite version of say nothing. You know what? I woke up and I chose violence. I'm gonna be a little bitch. I fix him with the coldest glare I can muster. He doesn't even blink, meeting my eyes serenely as I finish tying my bandages. I am not easily intimidated. I hastily break eye contact, but he says nothing more. At least he doesn't seem angry. But if he wants answers out of me, I'm going to need some from him first. Who are you? You may call me 𝐿𝐶𝐫. And where exactly am I? Aridia, which I assume was your caravan's destination. I can think of nowhere else for a group of travelers to go. Aridia. So I made it to the City of Knowledge after all. I should feel relieved, but all I can manage is a vague sense of increasing unease. How did I end up here? I brought you to my clinic, of course. You were the only survivor from the caravan, barely clinging to life. You needed immediate treatment. Which you provided. Yes? He says it so simply, as if I'm a small child and he's explaining basic addition to me. I frown and flex the fingers on my recently healed arm. Aside from being a bit stiff, it feels fine, thoroughly attached to me. You're saying that you stitched my arm back on? Pardon? A soulless attacked the caravan. It ripped everyone to shreds. It tore my arm clean off. But when I woke up here, I spent my entire life learning from a Cenobian mage, and I know of no alchemy or magic that could reattach a severed limb. Even if he somehow could heal me by magic, I should detect traces of it, but I sense nothing out of the ordinary at all. The doctor, 𝐿𝐶𝐫, pinches the bridge of his nose. He sits back down in his chair, quiet, for a long time.
Thank you for the follow, Cody Hannah. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And welcome, welcome. And hello. Hi, 𝐿𝐶𝐫. Hi, Fina. How are you guys? Welcome in, welcome in.
I mean, 𝐿𝐶𝐫 is a snack, not gonna lie.
Hi, Eliza. Coolest yippee. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it, darling. Thank you, and welcome in.
I do not know where you come from, but Iridia is a city of knowledge and deadly secrets alike. Information is power, and it is most unwise to give or receive it freely. Since you have refused to divulge your secrets, I will not divulge mine. I do not even know your name. Well, I was just... You are new to Iridia, so I will overlook this specific breach of etiquette. However, you should not expect others to extend the same courtesy. Do you understand? He looks pointedly at my freshly bandaged hands. Loath though I am to admit it, he has a point. I'm also a complete stranger to him, and if he's telling the truth, he saved my life. I take a deep, steadying breath. This time, when I speak, I sound a bit more like myself. Either. My name is Either. It's a pleasure to meet you, Either. There's a little more warmth in his smile, his polite demeanor back in an instant. Thank you for saving my life. I chance a smile in return. Even if he won't explain how he did the impossible, there's no doubt in my mind that I'd be dead if not for 𝐿𝐶𝐫.
Thank you for the follow, 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐫. I really appreciate it. Thank you, and welcome, welcome.
Oh my god, Sebastian! Think nothing of it. I'm not sure if he's just being excessively courteous, but his words only raise more urgent questions. But I have to ask, why did you save me? You don't know me. The question seems to startle 𝐿𝐶𝐫. I could hardly leave you to die in the wastes. Assisting those in need is the very essence of a doctor's duty. Well, I've never met a doctor who also handed out free clothes. My fingers find the edge of the cloak. There's a subtle but delicately embroidered pattern around the hem. I try not to think about what kind of price 𝐿𝐶𝐫 must have asked for such well-made clothes. No, I suppose not. Forgive my presumption. I rarely come across so fascinating a patient. I blink. What did you just say? I simply meant that few would cling to life so resolutely, or brave such a perilous journey to Iridia. I could not help being curious about you, Either. His voice dips into a soft murmur, and he abruptly looks away from me. It's either like, you're pretty curious yourself, or, well, I don't know what to say to that. One is full riz, one is negative riz. Oh my god, 𝐿𝐶𝐫, sweet, sweet bean. I believe this is an autome app, yep. Oh my god, chat. Someone trigger a hydrate because chat is thirsty. You're pretty curious yourself. Am I? Well, I haven't forgotten about my arm. I wiggle my intact fingers at him.
Thank you for the hydrate.
Alright, chat, drink up. Oh my god, 𝐿𝐶𝐫. Honestly, this whole game feels like a serene unhinge. Clearly not. But you haven't asked me for any payment either. I require none from you. Travelers do not have an abundance of coin, and it would be unethical to leave you destitute in a strange place. I fall silent, unsure what to say to that. Nobody would help a horror like me for free. There has to be some kind of catch or trick. Right? A loud knock at the front door stops our conversation cold and spares me from having to say anything else. Duty calls. Unfortunately, you are not my only patient today. The knocking grows more insistent, and 𝐿𝐶𝐫 lets out a tired sigh. Please wait your turn. Though he says it quietly, the clamour on the other side of the door abruptly stops. Do you need anything before you leave, either? Oh. Between the Soulless attack and my miraculous survival, I'd almost forgotten why I came to Iridia in the first place. I need directions to the 𝐶𝐈𝐵. The 𝐶𝐈𝐵? The look on his face is downright chilling. He pauses, choosing his words with cold deliberation when he speaks again. Whatever you seek, it is very unlikely you will find it there. The 𝐶𝐈𝐵's gates open for precious few visitors. Even if they did, you would not like what you found inside. My heart sinks. Is he saying that I came all this way for nothing? Risked life and limb for nothing? No, that can't be. I've only just arrived, and Iridia is the largest city still standing. There has to be a cure for me here. Then if not the 𝐶𝐈𝐵, where would you suggest? Do you know anyone else in Iridia? I shake my head. Then I suggest a local guide. Head to the Wet Wick and ask for Leander. Excuse me, the wet what? The Wet Wick. He sounds deeply unamused. Follow the postings advertising Leander's bloodhounds. They are difficult to miss. When you meet Leander, tell him I sent you. That isn't much to go on, but 𝐿𝐶𝐫 points towards the clinic's back door. You'll be safe, so long as you do not draw attention to yourself. Oh, that's easier said than done. I've always been a magnet for the worst sort of attention. If you require my assistance, you may return whenever you wish. Though he's smiling, there's a note of finality in his voice. Resigned to my dismissal, I slip out the back door. Yep, the game's called Touchstarved. Honestly, so far, this is real good.
Hi, Slanish. How are you? Welcome, welcome.
I find myself standing in a narrow and rather gloomy alley. I pull the new cloak up over my nose, stepping over the content of Chambers pots that have been emptied into the street. Something weighs heavily inside one of the cloak's pockets. My coin purse. Everything is still inside. Every last coin that I'd scraped together for the journey to Iridia. It doesn't even look like it was opened. And again, there were so few coins to begin with, they probably weren't worth stealing. I glanced back at the clinic's closed door. 𝐿𝐶𝐫 didn't take any payment. He didn't even ask for a future favor. But he also said that in Iridia, secrets are power. So does he expect me to give up mine at some point? That's not exactly a comforting thought. Still, no matter why he did it, 𝐿𝐶𝐫 gave me a second chance and a lead on where I might find help. I'd better get going before he changes his mind. I squeeze out of the alley and into the crowded main street.
Hi, 𝐿𝐶𝐫. Welcome, welcome.
The line outside 𝐿𝐶𝐫's clinic stretches down the road already. Two thin peddlers queue alongside weathered elders. If any place is in desperate need of a free clinic, it's this one. The cobblestones are treacherously rough under my feet, deep grooves worn between them by regular flooding and decades of hard use. I knew Aurelia was a river city, but I didn't expect it to look so eroded. The buildings are tired and dilapidated, all crammed together on narrow streets. The child darts by, clutching something greasy wrapped in paper. The smell of fried food drifts over to me and my stomach gives a faint gurgle. This morning's catch, fried up, hot and fresh. Not too many highballs today. Well, that sounds disgusting. Oh, but I'm starving, so I duck my head under the stall's grubby awning anyway. A large fish leers up at me, its 3 bulging eyes still visible through the thick layers of crispy batter. The vendor gives me a gap-toothed grin. What's the cheapest thing you've got? The vendor points at a metal basket of what looks like long strips of savoury fried dough. Fresh long, lads. 3 copper apiece. Don't burn your mouth. I take the coins out, counting them gingerly. At this rate, I might not even be able to afford dinner. Reluctantly, I drop the payment on the counter and take my meal. 2 streets later, I pass under a wrought iron archway, adorned with dangling garlands of red and pink lilies. The buildings in this quarter are a dizzying riot of colour, painted walls and tinted glass everywhere I look. Sheer red and pink curtains flutter open in doorways, musical voices call out invitingly. Incense mingles with the pungent scent of flowers, barely covering the salt and musk of warm bodies. This must be Aurelia's entertainment district.
Thank you for the head pats, Ina.
Asking for a friend. Have you been licking fish eyeballs, Ghosty? I'm polishing off my food and dusting the crumbs from my hands when I spot a poster. It features the silhouette of a smiling man wearing a single dagger-like earring and the word Bloodhounds printed above his head. A motto, as above so below, circles the artwork. If Leander is the leader of the Bloodhounds, then the face printed on the poster is likely his. I follow the line of identical posters around a corner and nearly hit my head on the precariously dangling wooden sign. Looking up, faded orange letters read, "The Wet Wick." The facade of the building looks like it's seen better days, but I hear faint music and laughter coming from inside. The inside of the bar is a far cry from the abandoned exterior. It's not even midday, yet most of the tables and booths are occupied by a loose assembly of people in matching green cloaks.
Thank you for the hydrates, Lannish.
That's the sound of a beer being opened. Yes. I look deep into your soul, Ghosty, and I'm not sure how I feel. Enjoy your eyeballs. Oh my god. I'm no stranger to bars. Sometimes I'd take my books to the local tavern for a change of scenery, but I much prefer quieter places. A cursory glance doesn't turn up anyone with a dagger-shaped earring. I'm about to head towards the counter when a chant rises from the center of the room. Show, 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 show. The remaining green cloaks abandon the bar, then their booths to rush towards the center of the room in a sudden torrent. There's no time to move out of the way. I'm caught, swept along in the ale-stenched current. Hey, Rhythmic chanting drowns out my voice. I thrash, throwing out my elbows as the press of bodies grows heavier. My hip knocks into a table. I grip it, holding on tight to steady myself. But the crowd has stilled. The chanting stopped. A pair of gilded boots stride across the tabletop. Seriously, you dogs? Again? Scattered laughter and cheers rise from the audience. I drag my eyes upwards. A well-dressed man stands on the table in front of me, his broad shoulders framed by the thick lapels of a trench coat. Gasp, VTuber! Fuck, I can't unsee it. This really is the last time, alright? This time when he speaks, the audience falls silent, as though bewitched by his magnetic presence or rich, low voice. But nothing is as captivating as his smile. He beams at the crowd around him, a performer on his makeshift stage. Don't blink or you'll miss it. He laughs, and the dagger-shaped earring dangling from his left ear catches the light in a flash of gold. It would seem I've found Leander. He raises his hand above the audience and snaps. A flash of pale green light, real magic, no ordinary stage trick, blinds me. As the brilliance ebbs, my gaze refocuses on the mage towering above me. He flicks his wrist, and the magic spiraling around him coalesces. A delicate flower stem sprouts from between his pinched fingers. One by one, glowing lily petals spring forth. With a flourish, the mage presents the conjured flowers, and the audience bursts into clapping and cheers. My mouth hangs open, and not just on account of the impressive performance. There was no incantation, no spell circle. I've never seen something so beautiful and intricate conjured so effortlessly. Leander must be an incredibly gifted mage. No wonder Kudos recommended him. Leander plucks the iridescent bouquet out of the air and turns in a slow circle, giving his audience a good look. Now, who could use some good luck? Eager onlookers scoot closer to the table. Some reach for the lilies while others whistle and call Leander's name. But his cool green eyes slide right over them, locking on me instead. How about you? My chest tightens. Every person gathered turns to stare at me. I can either be like, "Thank you for the flowers, good sir," or "Nuh-uh." He'd be like, "The fuck you mean, nuh-uh?" You know what? I'll let myself be raised by the magic man. I reach out, all too aware of the way my fingers tremble as I carefully take the flowers from him. There's no weight to them, only a faint warmth that radiates from the stems. As soon as the flowers leave Leander's hand, their light dims, and they fade away in a shower of opalescent light. To my surprise, Leander laughs under his breath. That's the problem with flowers. They don't last long, but they leave an impression, right? He grins at me, and I find myself smiling back. Leander steps off the table, dropping amongst the excited crowd with an audible clink. All right, bloodhounds, go back to your drink. Show's over. The green cloaks disperse at his command, returning to their tables and booths. Before I can make my way towards Leander, his eyes find me. Oh my god, Creeper! It's like Kudos definitely has my heart. Never mind, he's hotter. Folded immediately. He gives me a friendly wave, then beckons me over to the crowded counter. I manage to squeeze beside him, but there's so little room that his broad shoulders presses against mine. I tense, but he doesn't seem to mind at all. Is this your first time in Iridia? He says it lightly, with a genuine air of curiosity. Do I stick out that much? No, but I'm certain I'd remember seeing a face as lovely as yours around Lowtown. My eyes flicker to the polished countertop. I'm not used to flattery, and being this close makes eye contact difficult. As if on cue, the bartender approaches us. What can I get you? Surprise me, and add anything my friend wants to my tab. I wasn't expecting the generosity, but I have to admit, I do feel a little thirsty after all that fried dough. I'll have what he's having. While the bartender leaves to fix our drinks, Leander leans his elbow on the counter. I'm close enough to notice the purple shadows under his lower lids. His eyes wander over to me in return, but when they lock on my bandaged hands, a sour taste rises in my throat. Here come the questions. So, what brings you to the Wick? Kudos sent me. He pushes his hair back from his forehead, but it immediately falls right back into place. So, it's about work. The bartender returns with a pair of glasses filled with what I can only assume is beer. I raise my glass and give it an experimental sniff. It smells faintly yeasty, but with an undercurrent I can't quite place. A quick sip confirms my worst suspicions. Oh, it's awful. Somehow briny and sour in a way that reminds me of pickles. But any thought of complaining dies the moment I look up and see Leander take a deep swig from his glass. He lets out a satisfied breath. How can I be of assistance? I need to get to the cenobium. As soon as the word cenobium leaves my mouth, the entire bar falls silent. Bloodhounds twist around in their seats to gawk openly. Finally, an especially drunk one speaks up. The hell are you bringing up the cenobium here? Throw him out! This is bloodhound territory! The vitriol catches me off guard. From the angry looks thrown my way, it's clear I've broken some unspoken rule just by mentioning the cenobium. When I glance at Leander, he's drinking as though he hasn't noticed the uproar. Only when he catches me looking does he lower his glass. For the love of... He drags a hand down his face. Hey, keep it down, will ya? This is business. I tense, expecting an argument, but the outspoken bloodhounds silently return to their drinks. Only a handful continue to watch me, warily. Sorry about them. Cenobium's a bit of a touchy subject in these parts. Mix in enough drinks and, well, you saw. How about we continue this outside, eh? When I give him a terse nod, he pushes away from the bar counter. I follow Leander to an alleyway tucked behind the West Wick, where layers of frayed bloodhounds posters have been plastered to the walls. Seeing them side by side, the resemblance between Leander and his likeness on the posters is impressive. Kudos didn't send you here for help with the cenobium, did he? From the look he gives me, He already knows the answer. I glance away. No, he didn't. He suggested I find an alternative. Yet here you are, asking about them anyway. What do you need the 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐫 for? I don't want to tell him about my curse. The less people know about my capabilities, the better. Thankfully, Leander takes my reluctant silence as an answer. Oh, I see you're already aware of the city's currency. Information's worth its weight in gold around here. Goodhouse told you the truth, and the 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮's dangerous. Get on their bad side, and they'll imprison you if you're lucky, or torture you if you're not. Torture? My teacher never described anything like that. But the 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐴's supposed to be a place of learning, a sanctuary. The 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐴 has always been heralded as the last bastion of human knowledge, a shining beacon of hope in a world steeped in nightmares. If any place held answers, it would be the 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐴. That's why I came here. That's what they want you to think. But things that seem too good to be true are often just that. Such a simple statement, and yet it leaves me reeling. If it's true, if I staked everything on a lie, then what now? Leander clears his throat. But as I always say, there's a solution to every problem and alternatives to every solution. He claps his hands and turns to me with a brilliant smile. That's why Kuros pointed you to the bloodhounds. Let us help you. Whether it's hunting soulless, finding people, or recovering stolen valuables, we can do it all. And free of charge. I'm shaking my head before he's even finished his practice speech. My patience is wearing dangerously thin. Listen, I appreciate the offer, I do, but my problem can't be solved by a group of good Samaritans. To my chagrin, Leander nods slowly. And your problem must be fairly serious. And if the 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐴's your first choice, you're searching for a magical solution, aren't you? When my eyes widen, he nods along, as though he suspected all along. I'd be happy to help you out. That is, if you tell me what ails you. Leander might not work for the 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐴, but if his show was any indication, then he's even stronger than the mage who raised me. I mean, she couldn't do anything about my curse, but maybe. I'm silent, plagued by indecision. I don't know if I can trust him, but it's not like I have any alternatives. I hate to admit it, but this could be my only path forward. My confession comes out in a pained whisper. I'm cursed. Cursed? Oh, now I'm very curious. What kind of curse? Something ancestral or more recent? He looks me up and down, taking in my face, my eyes, and finally, my hands. It's your hands, isn't it? I wait until I'm certain my voice will remain steady before answering. My touch is dangerous. It changes people, hurts them. Before I've even finished, Leander begins taking his glove off. He tugs his left hand free and flexes his fingers. Alright, let's see it. He offers me his hand, and a prismatic flash of magic ripples across his palm. An enchantment for protection. But I'm already shrinking backwards. I can't. I don't care how confident Leander is, I can't bring myself to hurt him. To see his kind face twist into a mask of madness. Believe me, this isn't an ordinary curse. I'll be fine. Perhaps where you come from, your affliction was strange and one of a kind. But spend a year in this city and you'll see 1,000 curses and thrice as many cures. Do you really think Kuros would have sent you here if I couldn't handle it? Well, how should I know? I only met him today. I I'm as good as any mage in the Cenobium. Better even. If they can help, so can I. You don't know what you're asking me. I'm asking you to trust me. I look from Leander's outstretched hand to his confident smile. And with a short breath, I begin unwinding the bandages from my hand. Fine, but if you lose control, don't say I didn't warn you. You can tie me up first if it makes you feel better. With each joint I expose, I grow more and more certain that this is a terrible idea.
Thank you for the follow, Mocha Tiger. I really appreciate it. Thank you, and welcome.
Ready when you are. If he's bothered by the way my hand looks, he doesn't show it. My fingers hover shakily over his palm. 3, 2, 1. I tap his palm once, as quickly as possible. It's barely more than a brush, but that's all it ever takes. When I look at his face, expecting to see the worst, Leander only grins. See? It can't be. This time, when I reach out to touch Leander's palm again, he catches my wrist before I can pull away. I told you, there's really nothing to worry about. He trails off when my thumb brushes the soft skin of his inner wrist. I search Leander's face for traces of madness, but his eyes remain a clear, soft green. Color rises in his cheeks, but he remains still except for the subtle bobbing of his throat. Neither of us speak as I trace the contours of Leander's palm, lost in an awareness I wasn't prepared for. I've been with other people, kissed them and been embraced by them more, but not like this. My fingers, long deprived by years of bandaging, pick up every single detail. The grooves of his palm, the smooth shell of his nails, the pulse of his heart. For as long as I've lived, I've never been able to hold someone's hand, not without dire consequences. I never realized what I was missing until this moment. While Leander's pulse is steady, mine is hammering as fear gives way to excitement. I draw my hand back and take a steadying breath. My head feels as though it's stuffed with cotton. Habit alone guides me through the motions of rewrapping my hand, although my fingers tremble too much for the bandages to lie flat. I can't believe that worked. May I ask your name? I'm Aether. You were right to hide this from me, Aether. That curse of yours, it's unlike anything I've ever dealt with. I can tell you're discreet. You best not go showing that off to anyone else. I didn't plan on it. Are you staying in Lowtown? I pause. Ruin Board was something I hadn't yet considered. I don't know. Let's get you properly settled then. We're moving in with thickums. Honestly. The wet wake is noticeably quieter. Without their leader, most of the bloodhounds have dispersed, or in a few cases, fallen asleep beside their drinks. Got any rooms left, or did my lot grab them all to sleep it off? The bartender, who I now realize doubles as an innkeeper, slides a key onto the counter. You know I always keep the corner room open for your escapades. Leander's laugh sounds slightly strained, and I always appreciate it. But you're mistaken. This is just for my friend, either. Sure, stay as long as you like. You two have fun. Escapades, huh? Leander clears his throat and then holds the key out to me. But I hesitate. My coin purse barely holds enough for a day's worth of meals, let alone room. How much do I owe you? Nothing. Bloodhound raids. My treat, since you shared your secret. Food, drink, a warm bed, anything you need. Carefully, I take the key from him. It's small, but weighs heavy in my palm. I never expected to have a warm bed in Iridia, let alone free meals. Thank you. Go explore, either. You'll find many roads in Iridia, each leading to different answers. But if you need a reprieve from what haunts you, come find me. Just be careful. I nod, taking one last look at the gleaming bronze key before tucking it into the pocket of my cloak for safekeeping. Leander gives me one last friendly wave before I depart. The air clings, sodden and heavy. Without the morning crowd, the sunless streaks look barren and bleak. Even the peddlers are long gone. Only a pair of crow remain, quibbling over the stale crusts in a gutter. I feel a ridiculous pang of envy. At least they've got reason to fight. I've never felt so lost. Cullis and Leander both made it clear that the Cenobium can't be trusted. But I came so far, endured so much. I need to see the Cenobium for myself, if only to satisfy my curiosity. Oh, I should have asked someone at the bar for directions before leaving.
Hi, emo bread. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like my model.
I'm about to turn back when a shadow passes over me. A cloud, I think, until a hot puff of breath tickles the back of my neck. The shadow runs down the street in rivulets, formless dark sprays like ink into blotted shapes. Claws stretch. A muzzle splits open to reveal long, jagged teeth, and a growl rumbles so low and deep, I feel it. I want to run, to scream, but I feel trapped, as though the slightest movement or a single breath will snap the jaws around me shut. No, I won't let it end like this. If I'm going to die, I want to see what got me first. I steel myself, then turn. The shadow vanishes as quickly as it came. I left standing in the middle of the street, alone, except for a figure reclining in the shade of a nearby shop. A monster. That much is clear from a glance. One that could nearly be mistaken for a human, were it not for the tufted ears, the tail curled around his ankle. Or the dusk pink eyes with pupils that sharpen like needles when they fall on me. Our eyes meet, and the monster uncrosses his long legs. His hair gleams a shade of red that reminds me unsettlingly of blood when it curls around his collared throat. Jumpy, aren't you? His tone is so light and carefree that I glance over my shoulder to make sure he's speaking to me. When I look back, The stranger props his chin on his knuckles and regards me with an inscrutable little smile. Didn't you see that shadow just now? It was massive, moved like a beast. Even as I speak, I'm aware of how ridiculous I sound, but the stranger's smile doesn't falter. The only beasts I've seen are the wick-strolling regulars, though this did catch my eye. With a flourish of his hand, my in-room key appears to be dangling from his finger. It turns on his chain, glittering when it catches the light. My hands fly to my cloak's pockets and sure enough, find them flat. He crooks his finger, beckoning. I've already taken 2 steps forward before some stifled instinct stops me. Something feels wrong. I'm still on the edge, thrumming with so much adrenaline that the stranger's shadow flickers at the edge of my vision. I always attract the worst kinds of attention, but I can't get rattled now. This is like, who said that's my key? Today on How to Lose Your Room Key, the first option.
Thank you for the follow, dear Emo Breadloaf. I appreciate it. Thank you.
How did you even find it? The key, I mean. What can I say? I'm a sucker for shiny things. He smiles wide enough to reveal pointed canines. I saw you drop it. You really should be more careful. City like this, somebody might take advantage. A bald-faced lie said without a hint of irony. I didn't drop my key, and I didn't sense any magic either. He must have stolen it somehow. I approached the man, careful to keep an arm's length away. He doesn't look dangerous, but the most deadly ones never do. The stranger's chain softly clinks with the tilt of his head, and his ears flick. Keeping your distance. I'd be stupid to trust you. You think I stole your dinky little key from all the way over here? He gives an exaggerated sigh. I'm good with my hands, but not that good. Do I really look like a common thief to you? He's got me there. The sheer fabric of his sleeve alone would be too expensive for most street thieves. Hell, his shoes look like they cost more than I spent travelling here. And then there's the shop behind him. No matter the city, parted pink curtains only ever mean one thing. I'm not looking to buy, and I doubt I could afford your services anyway. Well, luckily for you, I don't charge. The man runs the tip of his tongue over a fang, and for the first time since I stepped into that shadow, I feel something other than dread. My face grows hot. That's not what I meant. I'm flattered, really. For sex me trade, I might even make an exception for you. How about half off for a handy? Or you could just hand over my key. Oh, ask nicely and I might even let you tug my tail. Just throw it here. So some spiny little street urchin can snatch it and run. He raises my key and tilts his head so we can watch it dangle back and forth. I suppose I could just claim your room for myself. Not that I'd be caught dead slumming in the wick with the rest of those slack-jawed imbeciles. You're obviously not from round here. So tell me, traveller, what misfortune brought you to this wretched place? His voice practically drips with derision. I'm not telling you anything. And what could possibly draw you to this dreary little pig pen, I wonder? He listlessly watches the arc of my key swinging around his finger. The weather's shit, the food's dreck, and there's entirely too many monsters for a human to feel safe. Unless... Dagger-sharp eyes flicker towards me. They gleam with amusement. Unless you're just dying to consort with monsters. By now my embarrassment has worn away, leaving simmering impatience in its place. If this is a shakedown, it's the most frustrating one I've ever heard of. Are you done? Or do you plan on flirting with me until the night falls? He touches his chest in mock affront. Oh, you wound me. How can you be so immune to my charms? You're about as charming as an ox and half as subtle. I suggest you go practice your seduction on someone interested. That earns me a burst of breathy laughter. How about you teach me the ropes? Show me a thing or two. The more he flirts, the more convinced I become that this is some kind of trap. No matter how innocent monsters look, they always have tricks up their sleeves. And something tells me that this one's more dangerous than he lets on. Even if he has a lovely laugh. I don't know what you want or why you're messing with me. But I'm not coming any closer until I know you aren't going to attack. Or bite. I won't bite hard. Unless you beg me. Ugh, no matter what I say, he finds a way to twist my words into innuendo. Even when I'm silent, he goes on as though we're having a conversation, not a standoff. Do you like dancing? There's a travelling troupe performing in Hightown tonight. Their luteus is utterly exquisite. Truly a performance to die for. There's life in this dreadful place, if you know where to look. You sound like you know the city well. The man's gaze flickers from me to the key dangling from his finger. Naturally, this dump was a little more than a miserable little smear than when I first arrived. High town, low town, I know Iridia like the back of my hand. What about the Cenobium? Do you know where that is? His smile vanishes. Surely you've seen it. That absurdly large tower looming over the rest. It's a little hard to miss. He must mean that spire I noticed when I first caught sight of Iridia. The Cenobium's overrated. Forget about it. I can show you things those stuffy bores in their limp-dick tower couldn't even dream of. I've already got plans. Oh, have you some pressing matters at the Cenobium? Lunch dates with the librarians? Tea time with the most esteemed abbess? Well, that's my business. What's it matter to you? I square my shoulders, and the amusement bleeds out of him. Your loss? The stranger, finally bored of his tedious game, extends his hand towards me. The key rests on his palm, neatly dividing skin and leather. When he makes no other move, I reach for the key. But as soon as my fingers graze smooth brass, his hand springs shut around my elbow. Hey! Hey! He yanks me down and I stagger, my soul slipping on the steps. For a sick moment, I fear my bandages will unravel under his touch, but he's careful not to disturb them, even as his fingers dig into my arm. I knew I smelled blood. You reek of death in the road. And that fucking doctor. His voice, once silken, lowers to a smoky growl. The shadows around him seethe and boil as he pulls me closer. And something else. He murmurs against my throat, nose grazing my jaw. Let go! I try to twist away, but he doesn't budge. His breath trails down my neck, sending a thrill of dread through me. But just when I fear he'll bite, he takes a deep whiff instead. His wide, flat eyes gleam with naked hunger as he gazes up at me. Not quite human, not quite monster.
Seems we're both.
There! The stranger's ears flatten, and he releases me with a short breath. I yank my arm back, massaging it where his grip left grooves in the bandages. The stranger twists around to watch a woman duck out from the curtains behind him. Her Cenobium uniform is nearly identical to the one my mentor kept tucked away in her closet. I leave you for all of what? 10 minutes and you're making trouble again? Will you quit harassing the tourists? The stranger, there I take it, rolls his eyes and flashes the cleric with a withering smile.
So suspicious. Can't you see this as a friend of mine?
A natural liar. He grins at me and his tail swishes minutely. The woman purses her lips at me, clearly unconvinced. I open my mouth to correct him, but Veer cuts in. I was graciously offering my dear friend some free advice. Though his voice remains light and cheerful, his expression darkens. Danger's drawn to you like a moth to a flame. You'll always find you given time. The woman clucks her tongue as though she's heard this recital 102 times. Word of advice? Don't take free advice from lazy foxes lounging in the streets. This crook would sell water to a drowning man for the sheer enjoyment of it. She shrugs off a wilting look from Veer. Oh, please. Any friend of yours knows it's true. Now hold still. Veer rises gracefully at her approach. She pushes his hair aside so it drapes over one shoulder, exposing the long line of his next. And suddenly, it dawns on me that the jingling I heard earlier wasn't coming from the harness attached to his collar, but a leash. A heavy iron chain wound around a hitching post and padlocked to the back of his collar. Veer posed deliberately to hide his leash from me. The woman produces a key ring from her pocket. She rifles through a dozen identical keys before selecting one and slotting it into the lock. Come on, unless your friend's tagging along our merry little soulless hunt. They're hunting for solace inside the city. Words momentarily fail me. The woman regards me with a polite, if tight, smile before marching down the stairs. Veer lingers. He stretches his arms over his head with a yawn, but I try not to stare at the way his stomach flattens when he arches his back. Your little secret's safe with me. Try not to get yourself killed, Veer hops off the stoop and bounds after the woman. His tail sways merrily, as though he hadn't just lied and threatened me. Did you try that thing I mentioned? The Laurentian knot? That the one where you take 3 fingers and... Actually, don't tell me. Knowing you, it was disgusting. Veer's airy laughter echoes down the street. It's only after he and the cleric have vanished from sight that I realize that I'm still missing something. Wait! Reflectively, I shove my hands into my pocket and find it. The room key. I pull it out of my pocket and raise it to the light just to be sure. A nagging feeling distracts me from my relief. I don't know what Veer's game was, or what he wanted from me. All I know for certain is that the Cenobium saw fit to leash him, a fate I could share, if that's what his vague warning meant. I let my eyes drift skyward, past the lanterns gently swaying in the breeze, to the Cenobium faintly visible through the haze. Just one glimpse is all I need, and I can put this all behind me. This time, the key goes into my coin purse for safekeeping.
Thank you for the follows, Lady Hexen and Sweet Sophia. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
It's easy enough to follow the sluggish river that splits Iridia in two. A colossal bridge arches over the dark water below. I cross as quickly as I can, climbing ever uphill toward the distant tower. Hours later, legs aching, sweat beading on my forehead, I finally find what I was searching for. The cenobium of the luminous void. It stands at the highest point of Iridia, surrounded by cold white walls. Well-dressed people stroll down the walkways, paying no attention to the massive tower in their midst. I'm the only one standing before the gates. I crane my neck up and up until the top of the Cenobian tower disappears into the clouds overhead. The gates are so heavily enchanted that even standing near them sets my teeth on edge. Alchemically reinforced locks, invisible signs of alarm, and who knows what else. Knocking seems like a terrible idea, but I don't see any other way of making my presence known. I'm halfway up the steps when something moves in my peripheral vision. A shadowy figure crouches beneath one of the white walls. They reach out and tug on a vine, as if testing its strength. Oi! You there! The shadow vanishes as quickly as I spotted it, and a gaunt-faced man in a crisp charcoal uniform marches up the steps towards me. Ah, another tourist. Get out of here once you've done gawking. A dismissive wave accompanies his equally dismissive words, and he turns on his heel without even waiting for an answer for me. I look back at where I saw the intruder, but there's nothing. Just the leaves blowing gently in a cool breeze. I step away from the gates, hopelessness washing over me. Hello? I whisper so close I can feel the warm brush of breath on my skin. I instinctively jerk away, but there's no one beside me. Halfway down the staircase, I spot a woman swaying in the breeze. She's gaunt as a rail, her blouse moth-eaten. I'm unable to take my eyes off her. Not because of the way she smiles a little too widely, or the way her tousled braids look unbrushed for days, but because her eyes shine a vibrant, unnatural crimson. I'm both entranced and unsettled by this subtle glow. These days, you'd need a miracle to get in there. I'm unsure how to respond, or if I even should. I'm always gonna choose the be a bitch option. Seems like I'm in the market for a miracle. Know anyone selling? She beams at me like I've said the greatest thing she's ever heard. Lucky for you, I have them for free. Whatever she's selling, I'm not interested. My words come out in a tired breath. No thanks. I start down the stairs, but she abruptly steps into my path. She turns her back to me, and before I can react, she slips her fingers under the lacing of her collar, stripping out of her blouse in broad daylight. Whoa, what are you doing? As warm fabric unveils bare skin, my panic is smothered by cold horror. A misshapen, sunken scar carves into the woman's body. Pitted, gnarled skin shakes down her shoulders, blooming from a gaping hole in the back of her neck. A shuddering breath escapes me. The fuck? By the looks of it, the disease that afflicted this woman ate away at her spine, leaving her with a hollowed vertebrae at the back of her neck. How is she able to move? Or breathe? It's impossible. She shouldn't be alive, and yet... Power to cure anything can be yours too. Power of the sea spring. The woman slides back into her blouse and deftly laces it up. If I've caught your interest, then follow me. It's only a short walk away. Without another glance, she leisurely strolls down the Cenobium stairs, loose braids bobbing behind her, the edge of a scar peeks out from under her collar. I stand there, wordless, until I manage to regain my bearings. It's a twisted miracle, but a miracle nonetheless. This could be the stupidest decision in my life, but what choice do I have? I take a final look at the 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮 shut gates, then follow her down the steps.
Hi, shortest ghost.
Thank you for the follow, darling. I appreciate it, and welcome, welcome. We descend from the higher streets, leaving behind their gilded decadence as we cross the river. The wet, derelict districts feel more familiar to me. But the crimson-eyed woman takes me farther, and farther still, until I'm met with an all-too-familiar sight. My gut lurches when I face the open horizon. The city's outskirts are hardly recognizable in the daylight, and probably safer for it, but venturing beyond Iridia's walls is a gamble I wasn't prepared to take so soon.
Keep going straight, and the sea spring will reveal itself to you.
I bark out a bitter laugh, loud and involuntary. Are you kidding? It's not safe out there.
You're as safe inside the city as outside it. Truthfully, the territory before you is the safest of all.
What do you mean, territory?
This region belongs to Ice. Most people know him as a gang leader, but he's much more than that.
I squint against the empty wastelands. Only a fool or someone with nothing to lose would leave the city. And apparently, I'm both. But if this sea spring cured her, then I need to see what it can do for me. I set off into the wastes. Over my shoulder, the woman calls after me.
Good luck, Aitha. I hope we meet again.
My heart pounds with each step I take from civilization. For what seems like an eternity, I force each foot forward, one step, then another, until a realization hits me. I never told the woman my name. Something pierces the horizon ahead of me. A building, nestled into a tall cliffside, but so starkly out of place that it might as well be a hallucination. It drips with extravagance and honeyed mahogany, an ornate jewel of architecture. A row of dark silhouettes stand out on the horizon. Trees, I think, until I'm close enough to realize that what I mistook for branches were spikes and jutting tendrils. Soulless. Several of them watch me in the distance, like statues. I don't think, I just run. Exploding into a messy sprint, I push my legs as fast as they'll take me towards that decorated building. Flashes of last night chase me, the gushes of blood and screams of death, the smell of burning flesh and sour bile. I can't go through that again, I won't. The next thing I know, I'm dashing up wooden stairs and crashing through towering double doors. I gasp for air, my lungs burning from exertion. I'm desperate to be safe, but I process my surroundings. It's more hellscape than sanctuary. Blood flows all around me, overwhelming my vision with a lurid, unholy red. Instinctively, my hand leaps to my mouth, but the rotten stench of blood never comes. Instead, a smoky scent hangs in the air, sharp and spiced. I swallow thickly, convincing myself that it's not as gruesome as it appears. This has to be the sea spring, the place that grants miracles. Pulling my eyes away from the pool, I take in the rest of my environment. Tall pillars flank me, blanketed in written notes. Seating pillows scatter the floor, A rustic kettle sits nearby. Someone must live here, despite how eerily empty it is. I approach the paper-covered pillars. Maybe something here can tell me more. I reach for the note that's higher up. It reads, "No one will read this, but it's not for anyone else. This is evidence that I existed in this rotten, grim world. Even so, I wish I could have stayed longer. The bog girl will be lonely without me. I should have told her how I..." The rest is scratched out. I wonder who wrote this. Before I can ponder it further, a sharp chill runs down my spine. Something's watching me. I quickly set the note back, my eyes darting around the wooden deck, but it's still empty, vacant. Finally, I look towards the sea spring. That stillness hides something deeper, something wrong. Hey! I spin around and come face to face with a pack of soulless. They chitter and growl, tendrils and spikes glaring threateningly, all different sizes and speeches, but sharing one identical trait, glowing crimson eyes. I try to back away, but my heels teeter over the sea spring. I'm cornered. Watch your step. It's deeper than it looks. That sound of voice again. At the sound of it, the soulless freeze, their snarls quieting. I search for the voice's source and find it above me, lounging in the rafters. Zaddy, save me! You look lost, little sparrow. His gaze is a violent crimson, one that sears through me, leaving me feeling raw and exposed. They're the same eyes I've seen over and over, first with the scarred woman, now with the soul circling me, all bound by the sea spring's blood red. In the shroud of darkness behind him, shapes like massive tentacles twist and curl around the wooden beams. I can't focus. The Solace's growls ring in my ears. They're not advancing, but they could charge at any second. Panic rises in my throat as I struggle to track them. Hey! Eyes on me. My stomach rolls as I tear my eyes away from the Solace. Don't ignore someone who's talking to you. It's not polite. For a moment, anger knocks my fear aside. Who is this bastard? I look right into his unnerving eyes and hold his gaze defiantly. Fuck you! Is that better? A crooked grin cracks across his face. We'll work on it. Bastard! I scan the Solus again. They really aren't attacking. Posturing more than anything else. Almost as if they're waiting for commands.
Hi, Az. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. Hi, Nazmi.
Did you tame them? Power of the Sea Spring. They're hungry, so they might bite. You could give me a reason to stop them. How about I didn't do anything wrong? Trespassing. And that's punishable by death? He gives a non-committal shrug. Expecting mercy was your first mistake. My voice stops in my throat. This man's terse coolness is both infuriating and terrifying. I rack my brain for a way to defuse the situation. Tell me what you want. I'm not in the mood for guessing games. Your hands. Alarm jolts through me. I hide my hands under my cloak. Show me. Why? Won't ask twice. With a sharp huff, I reluctantly hold out my bandaged hands. Are you getting off on this? Unwrap them. Heat rushes to my face and fire to my tongue. Oh, I should give him a piece of my mind, but not when his soul is one command away from ripping me to shreds. Yet no matter how much I will myself to move, my body is frozen in place. I stand there for a long, agonizing minute. My hands are trembling when I finally raise them. I know the skin beneath the wrappings all too well. The hideous, unnatural flesh that I've grown to despair. I grip the edges of the bandages. Stop. With a weary sigh, the man slides off the beam and lands with a thud that shakes the panels underfoot.
Thank you for the hydrate, Vito.
Yeah, I think we all need to do... Oh, Lord, y'all are thirsting. I see you, motherfuckers. He's a monster, with an imposing figure that towers over me. I couldn't tell how tall he was before, but he's big. Illuminated by lantern light, his features are stronger, sharper. Subtle clinks of metal accompany each of his footsteps, and the closer he gets to me, the faster my heart hitches. What does he want? Is he going to kill me? I step backwards, find nothing to step my foot on. I'd forgotten my back was to the C-spring. I fall right before a warm hand catches my lower back. I'm hovering above the C-spring, the scent of smoke and leather enveloping me. Blazing crimson eyes bore into mine. Told you to watch your step. Too stunned to muster a response. Like I weigh nothing, he guides me back to solid ground and steps back. Following a subtle gesture from his fingers, the soulless around us disperse and relax. The shift in their demeanor is so abrupt that it gives me whiplash. The enormous tentacles are no longer in the rafters, though I now doubt I ever saw them at all. Either way, I exhale a breath of relief.
Rest well, Nova, sweet dreams.
Oh my god, Davey, I see you. Thanks. As focused as he was on me as he was before, the monster pays no attention to me now. He kicks some seating pillows out of the walkway and checks the contents of the kettle with a scowl. The sudden disregard is almost insulting. So, that's it? I'm not a threat anymore? Never were one. Then why'd you threaten me? People get honest when they're afraid. In other words, he was messing with me. I drag a hand over my face, exhausted by the fact that this is the second time a monster has provoked me today. You're ice, aren't you? Depends who's asking. One of your friends told me that this was your territory. She also said you were a gang leader. But there's no one else here. I thought there'd be more people. Ice picks up the kettle and walks to the edge of the sea spring, then dumps out the contents into the endless red. Gang took a walk. His pleasant smile stretches across his face, ear to ear. Then in an instant, it drops. I get the sense that I shouldn't ask about his gang again. What do you need the Sea Spring's power for? It depends. Can it cure a curse? Probably. You mean you don't know? Nope. He shakes out the empty kettle and starts collecting stray cups, tidying up. My frustration builds. I narrow my eyes at him in a questioning glare. When he notices, he returns it with an amused smirk. Are you being irritating on purpose? Listen, Sparrow, the Sea Spring can cure anything. Nothing's stopping you from trying it yourself. Well, what do I have to do? Drink. I have to drink from the Sea Spring. My eyes glide to the blood-like pool beside us. The idea of ingesting the strange liquid makes my guts churn. It's not as if I'm adverse to elixirs or decoctions. I've made my fair share of them. But one misstep and you can easily meet a fate worse than death. Is there a price? Always. Ice taps his temple with a finger. You lose it a little bit. That's it? I've already beat it to the punch. My humour earns me an amused, fanged grin. This is a little different. When you drink from the Sea Spring, you forget who you are. Your mind combines with everyone who ever drank before. Humans, monsters, soulless. One big, happy family in your head. My blood runs cold. I've heard of these before. Group minds. Some legends suggest that independent minds can be psychically linked together through a strong enough catalyst. It's never been done before. But something tells me that this is real. Even if one thing doesn't add up. Your eyes are red too, but you obviously haven't forgotten who you are. Before I can finish my sentence, Ice strides past me towards the entrance. Time's up. Let's finish this later. Wait, already? But you barely told me anything. Came on a bad day. I've got somewhere to be. There are still so many questions burning on the tip of my tongue, but my frustration spills out before any of them. I was told to come here for help, and instead I get threatened and kicked out. You're joking, right? Watch your tone. I'm nice, but you don't want to ruin the host's mood. My skin prickles. The feeling of being watched washes over me again. And my eyes dart back over to the Sea Spring. A lone ripple dances on the quiet surface. I take Ice's advice and clamp my mouth shut. Ice approaches a nearby Solus, a lanky, dog-like one with 6 legs and a crown of tendrils. Several sets of crimson eyes adorn its side. Its forked tail wags repeatedly when Ice squats beside it. He runs his fingers through its tendrils, scratching its chin and pats its head. A gentle smile plays across Ice's lips. The affection he holds for the Solus is painfully clear. I dip my eyes away, my stomach fluttering at the tender sight. It's getting dark out, so this pretty girl will guide you back. Following a short whistle from Ice's lips, it trots over to the entrance obediently, tail swaying.
Thank you for the hydrate space.
I watch the Solus warily. Pretty is not a word I would use to describe it, and the idea of it protecting me sounds absurd. If I decide to drink, how should I find you? Find someone with eyes like mine. They'll point you in the right direction. But think it over. Once you drink, you can't go back. It's a lot to process. but I give a small nod. At least I know I have another option for a cure, as disturbing as it may be. I follow the Soulless at a measured distance and watch it nudge the giant doors open with ease. When I'm about to cross the threshold, I sneak one last glance behind me. My heart skips when I meet Ice's eyes. I'm about to snap my head away, but he just flashes me an easy smile. Till next time, Sparrow. I'll buy you a drink for scaring you. I don't trust myself to do anything but respond with another curt nod.
Thank you so much for the follow, Skinner's loving. I appreciate it. Thank you, darling, and welcome, welcome.
Outside, more crimson-eyed Soulless scuttle about. It's hard to believe it's the same threatening pack from before. They chase each other in circles and roll around in the bog's mud. They pay no attention to me as the dog-like one escorts me away. It's an uneventful trip. Sometimes the Soulless looks over its shoulder at me to make sure I'm still following. Dusk darkens the sky by the time we reach the city. The Soulless sits and looks at me expectantly with familiar crimson eyes. As nervous as I am, I carefully glide my fingers through the Soulless's tendrils and scratch beneath its chin, just like Ice had. It pushes into my palm in response, rumbling with a sound akin to
Thanks
a
for
purr.
the raid, 𝐄𝐍_𝐕𝐓𝐮N𝐞𝐫. Snoodles all set to bring some winged snake pizzazz to your lively bunch. Let's make it a jolly good time together.
Hi, Raiders. How are you? Welcome, welcome.
We are playing the lovely game Touchstarved. Be warned, it definitely has its macabre moments. But like so far it's turned out to be a really, really cool game. And chat's full of thirsty motherfuckers.
Thank you so much for the follows, Borealis and Cimmerian Hydra. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And welcome to the Uncanny Valley. Yes, how was your stream, 𝐄𝐍? I hope it went brilliantly.
Honestly, like, even though this is just the demo, like, oh, lordy, it delivers, bruh. Oh my god, it's good shit. It's good shit. Oh my god. Folks be thirsting for Leander. He's kind of like the hot, cheeky mage type.
Oh, you were doing some sketching, distressing.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's good vibes.
If you're feeling tired, please don't hesitate to pass the fuck out.
If you need some chill time, get some hydrate, get some nibbles, have a stretch, whatever you need. Oh my god. But yeah, so we've just finished after meeting the fourth chap, who's basically a hot Oni style guy. He's also a bastard. And we are on our way back into the city. It pushes into my palm in response, rumbling with a sound akin to a purr. The vibrations are soothing, almost healing my fatigue. When it's satisfied, the Soulless spins around and scampers back in the direction it came, vanishing into the darkness. It's barely my first day in Iridia, and I've already encountered so many things I thought were impossible. Tamed Soulless being one of them. My head spins. Maybe I should just call it a day. Nightfall creeps across the streets of Iridia. The city labyrinthine, even in the daytime, has become a warren of treacherous alleyways. The streets are completely deserted. If I hadn't been here earlier, I would have thought this part of the city has been abandoned.
Have a wonderful rest in that case, 𝐄𝐍.
Well, after your studying, of course.
And thank you for the raid. I truly appreciate it.
I make my way through the winding streets, doing my best to keep my bearing towards the wet wig. My steps slow when I hear rustling in the dark. I strain my ears, but everything is still. Is the silence playing tricks on me? The fine hairs on the back of my neck prickle, a frisson of discomfort running down my spine. Something is wrong. My eyes dart from side to side of the street to the other, searching for movement, but the shadows are as deep and dark as pools of ink, and I see nothing. I can't stay here. I need to reach a busier part of the city. Drawing my cloak tighter around my body, I hurry on my way. Though I keep my eyes sharp and listen intently, there's only the sound of my own footsteps. As the moments pass and nothing happens, I begin to wonder, maybe I really did imagine that noise. I turn the next corner, and my thoughts come to a screaming halt. My head spins, the world blurring as adrenaline rushes through my veins, and only one thing is clear amongst the haze. The soulless that attacked the caravan. It's crouched over a dark, indistinct shape. A body. A garland of intestines spills from pallid flesh. Blood grouts the cobblestones. For mercy, the soulless is too distracted by its meal to have noticed me. My feet feel heavy as stones. I can't just stand here. Holding my breath, I take a step backwards. When the wet, slurping sounds don't abate, I take another, then another. Then a shard of glass crunches under my heel. The world seems to slow to a crawl as the soulless raises its head, blood dripping from its tendrils. Every single one of its sulphurous, bulging eyes fix unblinkingly upon me. It's really here. It's come back for me. I'm off like a shot, running for my life through the darkened streets. Behind me, a piercing bass splits the silence, and heavy footfalls pound after me. My heart thunders in my chest. I take turns at random, trying to lose it in the maze of streets, but I can't seem to shake it. I can hear its breathing now, a wet, fluttering rasp, growing closer and closer. The same claws that once severed my arm swipe out. I duck, saved by pure reflex, and skid around the corner. I take 3 running strides before the bottom drops out of my stomach. A wall twice as high as me bars my way. A dead end. When I turn around, the soulless looms in the entry to the alleyway. It's no longer running. It doesn't have to. As it prowls closer, my thoughts race. Some of the buildings lining the street are lit. There must be people inside. It's a long shot, but I whirl, grabbing at the handle of the closest door. It turns completely, the hinges creaking as I push, and I feel a flash of hope before a weight hits the door from the outside and it slams shut. The clicking of the lock turning is grimly final. In this wretched world, few people will stick their neck out to help their own flesh and blood, never mind a stranger. The soulless gives a rasping hiss. It's the only warning I get before it lunges at me with a flash of cause. I hurl myself to the side, but the slick cobblestones betray me, and I fall sprawling over the rough stone. As the soulless looms over me, I scramble away from it until my back hits the wall. There's nowhere left to go. It descends at me for the kill. But the impact never comes. I warily crack one eye open, and then the other, not sure whether I should believe what I'm seeing. A hooded figure crouches in front of me, one blood-stained hand outstretched.
Moonlight silvers the edge of this stiletto knife. Their face and hands are splattered with blood. And the soulless? My eyes dart past my unexpected rescuer to the misshapen form behind them. The soulless's many eyes, once restless and vibrant, now look dull and waxy. A red pool spreads slowly from under its body. Numb with shock, I can't help but stare. It's dead. After all the people it killed, after nearly killing me twice, I can hardly believe it. Well? I gingerly take the offered hand. The stranger's gaze dipped to my bandages. Pale lips part, on the brink of asking a question, then close again. With a stretch belying their slight frame, they pull me to my feet. As soon as I'm on my own 2 feet again, they pull away from me and start wiping the blood from their face and hands. Stay there. They turn away from me stiffly, leaning over the soulless's gangly body. With their back towards me, I realize that I saw their hooded silhouette at the 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐫. I've seen you before. You were at the 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐿 earlier, weren't you? They cast a wary look towards me. So what if I was? Their harsh response takes me aback. Before I can formulate a response, they continue. What are you thinking, traveling alone at night? This is far from the worst thing haunting Lowtown. I can't make heads or tails of them. First they saved me, and now they scold me? Lesson learned. I could do without the lecture, though. To my surprise, they break eye contact. Their attention glides back towards the soulless's corpse. They examine it with an inscrutable expression. I clear my throat to fill the silence. I'm Aether. Min. Suddenly, Min tenses. Their blade flashes as they drive it into the base of the soulless's skull, right between the cervical vertebrae. The soulless flashes once, letting out a rattling hiss as the air leaves its lungs. Min leans on the blade, driving it deeper and deeper until there's a sickening crunch, and the creature goes limp. My heart thuds in my chest. It must have been clinging to life by a thread. Min straightens up, withdrawing their blade in a single smooth motion. Better to put wretched things like this out of their misery. They calmly clean the blood from their knife. They struck with surgical precision. Their quick, clean movements are familiar. Are you a scientist? Min stops mid-motion, lifting their head to stare at me. I mean, you knew exactly where to strike. Have you studied anatomy or medicine? Not quite. Why is a soulless inside the city? Min looks at me, eyes searching, before realization dawns. You're new here. There's no walls around the city. Soulless can come and go as they please, until someone is contracted to stop them. The 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓𝐮 patrols don't bother to protect Lowtown. Not anymore. Let me guess. You're not a fan of the 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐴? I wouldn't go that far. Their brows abruptly furrow, and they sheathe their knife, motioning for me to follow them. It's not safe here. The vultures can smell death. I'm not quite sure what they mean, but I don't want to stay lost in the city, so I trail behind them as they stride down the street. If it's so dangerous, then why are you helping me? I came for the bounty on that Solus, and you were in the way. Not killing you is the same as helping you. Don't count on being so lucky again, or you'll be dead by sunrise.
Their answer is stingingly harsh. I hold my hands up, trying to forestall any more snippy comments. Alright, I get it. I'd love to get out of your way, but I'm sort of lost. I just need directions back to my lodgings.
What makes you think that I'll help you?
Nothing. But there's no harm in asking. That seems to catch them off guard. Their brow knits and they look away, scowling.
How troublesome.
Either. I turn, surprised by the voice. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 walks down the street towards us. His white and gold clothing is pristine, despite the grime of the city. Hello, Min. I see that Solus was your work. Min shrugs. There's a familiarity to the way that they regard each other.
You know them, 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓?
Min is a freelancer who has done a few errands for me. They're quite reliable.
Unreliable freelancers don't eat.
A freelancer who wields a dagger like a scalpel. There must be something more to that story.
Either needs to get back to where he's staying before he wanders into the jaws of another Solus.
It is late. Were you able to find a place to stay, either?
I'm staying at the Wet Wick.
Both their faces fall. I see. Would you like a guide? It might be preferable to wandering about the alleyways.
That would be nice.
Min clicks their tongue and sighs, sounding mightily put out.
Going to the Amaryllis district. That gaudy cesspit.
Come, this way. Despite Min's clear distaste, when 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 leads me down the street, they keep pace with us. Catching my curious glance, Min's eyes narrow.
It's not safe this late. I don't care about you, but 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 is the only doctor worth a damn in this place.
Are you like this with everyone? The deadpan look Min gives me is answer enough. I catch 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 hiding a slight smile. I suppress a sigh and resign myself to having a grumpy shadow all the way back to the Wet Wick. The route 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 takes is completely different from my slow meandering earlier in the morning. In no time at all, he cuts through darkened streets and twisting alleys. It seems like half the city is poured into the Amaryllis district's colourful streets. Laughter, clinking glasses, and music assault my ears from every direction. Yet the most noise still comes from the Wet Wick. Its doors hang wide open, lanterns lit. Here we are. He moves towards the door, and Min lets out an audible huff.
Don't tell me you're going in.
I have some quick business with Leander.
Fine. He still owes me for yesterday's work.
They drag their feet, reluctantly trailing me into the tavern. As soon as the doors open, a wave of sticky heat rolls over me. In the hours since I left, the wick has grown suffocatingly crowded. 𝐄𝐍𝐕𝐓 stands out, easily a head taller than most. Even so, I nearly lose sight of him amid the sea of swarming bodies.
Oh, thank you for the hydrate, stretch, and save.
Alright. Arms in front, up over the head, and... yeah. And we'll give it a save.
Arigato. It's 11:15 at the moment.
Pardon me. The crowd parts as though answering his request. Curtis glances over his shoulder at Min and me before gliding through. How can anyone breathe in here? Min follows Curtis at a clipped pace. Leander is right where I left him, although he's traded places with the bartender. He holds a pair of shot glasses filled to the brim with luminous green liquid. And now for the finishing touch! A flash of magic paints the glasses white with frost. You're never gonna guess what's in these. Leander slides the glasses across the bar, and I get my third and fourth shots of the evening in rapid succession. Ice leans against the bar, an elbow propped up on the counter. He catches the glass and lifts one to the light before turning it upside down. The contents, magically congealed, stay firmly in place. You're supposed to make drinks, pretty boy. Don't tell me you've wasted already. Vare, perched on the bar's counter beside Ice, takes a single look at the shot glass and shakes his head. What have we here? A bucket full of boogers? Leander's nose treasure? You've eaten worse. Vare's lips twitch and his ears flatten when Ice offers him a glass. He turns his cheek with a sniff, and Ice just snickers. Coward. Don't tell me you're actually... In one fluid motion, Ice throws back his head and downs the shot. Drinking that. A dark look crosses Ice's face. Ugh, it's chewy. Chewy? Wait, let me try again. Behind me, Min grumbles. I told you this place was a nest of degenerates. If it isn't Curtis and Min! At the sound of Leander's voice, Min's pale eyes grow wide. They look ready to bolt until Curtis sets a hand on their shoulders. I promise this will not take long. Min's eyes dart from Curtis's hand to his face and then soften. Fine, you first. Thank you for the follow, Verena Cross. I appreciate it, thank you. While they step forward, I linger behind, struck by a sudden revelation. All of the people that I've met today know each other. Good evening, Leander. Ice. Another drinking competition, I presume? Oh, is it evening already? Could have sworn it was earlier. Just some friendly rivalry, Doctor. Nothing to be afraid of. Curtis acknowledges Leander and Ice with the slightest nod, ignoring Vare entirely. Not that Vare seems to mind. He tilts his head and an impish smile curves his lips when he spots Min looming silently behind Curtis. I almost didn't see you there, Min. Looking for your booster seat? Min pushes back their hood. They level Vare with a cool look. I thought Ice wasn't allowed to bring his pets in here. Vare's tail gives an angry twitch. At the first sign of an impending fight, Leander vaults clear over the counter, and he slides in between Ice and Curtis. Now, let's try and keep the peace. It's not every day the esteemed doctor takes us up on a drink. His arm snakes around Curtis's shoulder. You are finally taking me up on that drink, right, Curtis? I am afraid not. We're merely escorting Either back to his lodgings. Curtis gestures in my direction, and my stomach sinks. I reluctantly step into the light. As soon as he sees me, Leander's face brightens up. Either! Oh, it's been too long. Everyone, this is Either. He's new to Iridia. I feel 5 pairs of eyes fix onto me, and suddenly the bar feels suffocatingly small. My voice nearly catches in my throat. Hi everyone. Again? Oh wait, you've already met everyone? Ice and Ver level me with subtly amused expressions. Ver's tail gives a lazy wag. We did. Not that long ago either. I'm starting to suspect he's stalking me. He looks far too pleased with himself when I roll my eyes. This calls for drinks! What does everyone want? In an instant, all eyes turned to Leander, freeing me from the burden of attention. I still can't believe that they all know each other. Watching them talk amongst themselves feels surreal. But for the first time since I undertook the journey to Iridia, I feel a faint glimmer of hope. I know that I was meant to meet them. The low, pleasant rumble of Leander's laughter pulls me from my restless thoughts. Ha ha ha! Oh, color me surprised! You make friends fast, Arthur! I wouldn't go that far, but more like acquaintances. The wise ones once said that acquaintances are merely friends you haven't shared a drink with yet, eh?
A wise man? You said that here last week.
I can hear Min's lip curl with distaste from across the bar. Leander clears his throat and continues unperturbed. Let's toast to either's health. Care to join in, Doctor? Curtis politely declines with a wave of his hand. How about you, Min? No. Are you? No. A relentless pop pierces the din of the bar, and we all turn in the direction of the noise. Veer looks almost bashful as he accepts an overflowing flute from the bartender, poured from a bottle so old its label has been worn blank. They serve champagne here? Since when? Veer pauses in the middle of licking champagne foam from his fingers with a coy smile. Oh, you don't mind, do you? In a transformation as impressive as his magic trick, the concern on Leander's face vanishes, and he laughs softly. No, be my guest. I know you've got expensive taste. Then he shoots the bartender a frantic look. Unbothered or uninterested in his company, Ice cans his head at me, a light smile on his lips. How about you, Sparrow? I did say I'd buy you a drink earlier. No, my treat! Ice regards Leander over the lip of his glass. In the dim light, the glint in his crimson eyes looks downright dangerous. What'll it be, Arthur? I'll take you up on that drink. As long as it's not one of those green shots. Don't knock them till you tried them. They taste better than they look. Somehow I doubt that. But I hold my tongue long enough for Leander to go behind the bar. He's lying, isn't he? When I glance at Eyes, he only shrugs. Like I said, they're chewy. Probably poison, too. He considers his own drink, a tumbler of amber-colored whiskey. Leander's tried to kill me a dozen times by now. It's always a gamble. Ver clicks his tongue in disapproval. When he finally looks my way, it's with a half-lidded gaze softened by his third glass of champagne. Where are you? I wouldn't let Leander put anything in my mouth. He fans his fingers over his chest, voice dripping with fake reverence. The Wet Wick is one of the finest drinking establishments in all of Iridia. While you're here, you may as well partake of the signature watered-down drinks and stale nut leather. He sweeps his hand towards a chipped ceramic bowl filled with spindly speckled jerky that I can only assume is nut leather. What is with the food in this city? As abysmal as you make it sound, this place is completely packed. It's not all bad. Depending on the day, the food's edible. Ice takes a measured sip of his drink. Gotta stick around for the real attractions, though. Before I can ask what he means, Leander returns with a tumbler that he sets in front of me. Uneven chunks of ice bob in a pool of reddish-purple alcohol. I sniff the drink suspiciously. To my relief, this time all I smell is the sharp, clean scent of gin with an undercurrent of fermented fruit. Relax, it's just the local specialty, plum gin. Although if you're feeling more adventurous... I shake my head. Leander raps his knuckles against the bar until the group falls silent.
Rest higher.
Alright everyone, let's toast. May either stay in Iridia be full of bright adventures and discoveries. Cheers! Leander, Ice, and Ver raise their glasses in unison. Min only crosses their arms, and 𝐿𝐸 watches with polite indifference. I tip back my drink. The plum gin is eye-wateringly strong. Despite a sharp medicinal edge, it goes down smooth. One sip softens the edges of my vision, and the next fades the dim of the crowded bar into a low, persistent murmur. I find myself unwinding for what feels like the first time in years. Aren't you the popular one, Either? I'm guessing you met 𝐿𝐸 first. It would be more accurate to say that I found him. He saved my life. I merely performed my duty as a doctor. Although I must admit, I was confused when I woke up missing all of my clothes. Leander makes a choked noise, and somewhere behind him, Min sighs. That's not what you think. I thought it was in grave condition. I could hardly treat such injuries through tattered clothes. The silence that follows stretches uncomfortably long. I look away, unable to face 𝐿𝐸's disappointment, and catch Ver snickering behind his hand. Well, that's my cue to change the topic. 𝐿𝐸 isn't the only one who saved me today. Don't you listen? I didn't save you. You were simply there. Ah, that's Min for you. Leander reaches for Min, but they duck under his arm with practiced ease, without so much as looking his way. As reliable as they are moody. You're the one to talk, considering you neglected to warn him to stay off the streets at night. Oh, might have gotten a little distracted. Min's only response is a short breath. At any rate, I never got a chance to thank you, Min. Don't. The less soulless alive, the better. For a heartbeat, Min's eyes flick towards Ice, and their lips twist. Ice is too busy nodding along to Ver's enthusiastic pantomime of stabbing to notice, lost, no doubt, in an enthralling discussion. I've had enough of this hellhole. Let's go. Min and 𝐿𝐸 share a brief look. Then the doctor speaks up. Very well, but there is something that I must discuss with Leander, if you'll excuse us either. And just like that, the three of them depart, leaving me alone to savor my gin in silence. Or so I think, until I hear a voice so soft and low it's practically a purr. Lost your tour guide? I turn to find crimson and pink eyes trained on me. It's not lost on me that they chose the instant the others left to strike. Just my luck. I had to be abandoned with the two most irritating people I've met all day. Monsters or not, there's no telling what I'll do if either of them push me again. Don't tell me Leander already snuck off to get his knob slobbered out back. He's got business with 𝐿𝐸 and Min. 2-on-1 business, Isn't he lucky? I can't tell if it's the champagne or the company, but Vera's grown noticeably more relaxed.
Hi, Red Riot. Welcome, welcome. And good night, May.
He sits with his chin propped on the back of his hand, His ears twitch whenever a hiccup shapes his shoulders. Why are you so far away? Come on, join us! He pats the empty bar stool beside Ice, but I hesitate. The smile Ver wears is sweet and distinctly sly, and with drinks in the mix, I dread how he and Ice will mess with me next. We don't bite. I'm not sure about that. Just hours ago, he tried to rob me and you threatened me. Me? Steal? Surely you must be mistaken. You sure it was me? Yes, it was you. And then you had the gall to kick me out just so you could go drinking. He gives another one of his shrugs. I was lonely. A simpler answer than I expected, but I guess I can't fault him for that. Veer suddenly slumps forward, gossamer sleeves pooling where he rests his elbows on his knees. Ice sets his hand on Veer's waist, narrowly preventing him from tipping off the counter. How about we start from fresh, Begin with proper introductions, get off on the right foot and whatnot. I'll start. The name's Veer, Hunter Extraordinaire. Veer's right hand flutters to his chest, and he bows his head, flinching when the hair falls into his eyes. Ice doesn't say anything, so I suppose it's my turn now. It's either... Veer considers me for a long moment, his tail idly swaying behind him. Then he knocks back the rest of his champagne. It's a pleasure to formally meet you, Either. He says my name slowly and deliberately, savoring every syllable. A tingle jumps down my spine, and I quickly turn my gaze away. Ice smirks at my reaction over the rim of his glass. Is something funny? Nope. I open my mouth and close it just as quickly. They want me to react, goading me into another ridiculous game. While their sharp, cat-like eyes keep me on edge, something about this tension is... fun. It must be the gin. A flash of white over Ice's shoulders catches my eye. Across the bar, Kudos heads for the door. I don't see Leander or Min, but it feels wrong to let him leave without saying goodbye. I'll be back. Ver hums and wags his fingers at me as I leave. I slip through the crowd, careful not to touch anyone. But just as I'm nearing Kudos... Ugh! I stagger, shoulder checked by a man with a neck thicker than both my thighs. He stares down at me, nostrils flaring. Out of my way, shitstain. My words spill out on their own. You watch it! I regret them as soon as they leave my mouth. That fucking gin! The roughneck wheels around, shoving a bloodhound out the way so he can close in on me. What did you say? He shoves me backwards, sending me stumbling to the sticky floor. I mean, I'm fine, but my heart leaps into my throat when I see the roughneck bearing down on me. You trying to start something here? The roughneck freezes, his fist cocked back, and a group of bloodhounds called by the commotion circle him, sizing him up. For what feels like an agonizingly long moment, the roughneck looks from me to the bloodhounds. Finally, he sniffs and spits on the floor next to me. The lob narrowly misses my cheek. Screw it. Too many freaks in this circus tonight. He turns his back on me and comes face to face with Ice. A dangerous smile spreads across his face. You'll do. What happens next is a blur. Ice's fist crashes into the roughneck's jaw, causing an eruption of gasps, shouts, and even cheers around us. Of course, rest well, Shara, sweet dreams. I scramble to my feet right as the frantic crowd swarms around me, cutting off my sight of everything and everyone. Through the ruckus, I hear Leander shouting, Hey, Ice, take it outside! I ignore them, everyone. Look, drinks are on me! With those 4 words, the wick erupts with hoots and hollows. The ring around me disappears as bloodhounds and onlookers rush towards the bar. Through the thinning crowd, I catch glimpses of familiar faces. Ice vanishes out the back, dragging the roughneck behind him. 𝐿𝐶 lingers near the door, searching, I suspect, for any wounded before he departs. Min draws their hood up tight as they slip out the side door, while 𝐿𝐿 leans over the counter to swipe a glass of wine from behind the bar. And Leander, seated at the opposite end of the bar, gestures dramatically and apologetically at the bartender. In the space of a heartbeat, I realize that there's no telling when or if I'll see any of them ever again. Whoever I pursue may be the last person I get to speak to tonight. I follow. Honestly, it is a good spot to save in it. Definitely saving it. Oh, that's a hard choice, that is. Oh, fuck. Now I have to pick one. See you, 𝐿𝐶𝐸. Oh, shit, this is difficult. Alright, so we've got Ice, who is the cheeky bastard demon guy. We've got 𝐿𝐶, who's the quiet, hot doctor man. We've got Min, who's the tsundere. 𝐿𝐿, who's that cheeky bastard. And Leander, who's the himbo. Oh, shit, this is hard. Oh. I'll be honest, I'm gonna follow Ice, mostly because I want to know what the hell he's doing to that guy in the back alley. Like, out of all of them, 𝐿𝐶 is going home, Min's going off to be emo, 𝐿𝐿's drunk out of its tits, and Leander's trying to save his bar from being drank to death by the man who's drunk out of his tits. But Ice is off doing sus shit in an alleyway, and I kind of want to see what happens. Morbid curiosity draws me after Ice. I slink out the back of the wet wick. The alley's dead silent. Not really what I expected from a fight. A dull crunch reaches my ears, then a thud. I peer around the corner of the building, careful to keep hidden. Dark, glistening red splatters on the ground, spidering through the steams of cobblestone. It guides my eyes to a collapsed body across from me. Once so violent, the roughneck is now little more than a sack of crumpled flesh blotted with mud. Ice exhales, his breath misting against the cold air. Blood flecks his knuckles as he looms over the motionless body, his feet on either side of it. Fear spreads like ice in my bones. Moments ago he was joking and friendly with the others, but now Ice's crimson eyes find me in the dark. Not running, Sparrow. I warily rise to my feet, moonlight illuminating my face. I thought I was out of sight. Got eyes in the back of my head. Ice steps off the roughneck. My eyes stay locked on the body. It's wet with layers of blood and grime, completely still. He's alive. Are you sure? Calling me a killer or a liar? Liar. Which I guess is both. In that case, he's dead. I squint and he smirks back. Don't believe me? Well, to be honest, it's hard to believe anything coming out of your mouth. I'm a liar after all. His bloodied knuckles catch his attention. He tries to rub them clean, but ends up smearing the blood around more. I keep making bad impressions on you. I didn't know you cared about my opinion. Just prefer you didn't piss yourself when we talk. Annoyance bubbles in my chest. Well, I'm not pissing myself. even with your bad impressions. Like the first time we met, Ice chips away at my fear, replacing it with irritation instead. Ice kneels beside the roughneck and frisks him. I can't help but wonder if the crime was worth the punishment, but I hold my tongue. Deftly, Ice's hands search through the roughneck's pockets. It doesn't take him long to find his prize, a cigarette and a matchbox. He strikes a match. Sparks light up his angular features with a golden glow. It's distracting for a moment, but my gaze inevitably drops back to the muddy body. You're just going to leave him there? Eyes draws deep from the cigarette. He exhales heavily, smoke curling past his lips. I breathe in the sweet spice scent of cloves. As his tension melts away, he looks at me with cool, lidded eyes. Should I give him a blanket? Unbothered by the, maybe, corpse, he takes a seat on a crate opposite the bar. I stand awkwardly, forgetting why I came out here in the first place. An unpleasant silence stretches between us. Weather's nice. Cold, murky, and humid, he means. I want to believe he's teasing me, but for all I know, this is pleasant for Iridia. Well, was Princess good company? Who? He takes another long drag. His metal rings catch the light of the cigarette in a flash of red. The Soulless who escorted you back. You named it Princess! Jealous. I return his smile. You have no idea. I think your nickname's more fitting. Sparrow. Not sure where Ice got it from. Maybe I should just tell him to call me by my name, but it's kinda nice. Not that I ever tell him that. Before I can dissect my feelings, I quickly change the subject back to the Soulless. I'm surprised I survived. Half expected it to maul me on with my back turned. She's well trained, food motivated type. Won't bite unless she's hungry. Sounds about right. The idea of tamed Soulless is still so outlandish to me. I mean, I was mauled by a mindless, bloodthirsty beast and he's talking about them like they're pets. But it's possible. All because of the sea spring. I need to get the answers he wouldn't give me before. I carefully take a seat beside him on the crate, contemplating my strategy. He doesn't seem to mind. He closes his eyes and tilts back his head against the wall, relaxed. Without the pressure of his intense gaze, I feel myself ease up too. As long as I keep my attention away from the bloody heap across from us. I glance over at Ice and allow my eyes to linger. A sea glass coloured tattoo spirals up his arm, painting over grooves of muscle. Silver jewellery glints in the moonlight. It draws my eyes to his bare chest, rough hands, carved jaw. His ears, his horns, his pupils, everything about him is sharp, even the fangs that only show when he grins. But as dangerous as he appears, I can't help but wanting to know more. I wonder how recently he crossed over to this world and why. What's your verdict? I whip my head in the opposite direction. What verdict? Oh, got a long, good look. Are you impressed, or do I need work? My face grows hot. But I guess I've seen worse. He responds with a low chuckle, draped in smoke. Keep staring, then. My embarrassment spikes. Without thinking, I blurt out a change in topic. I have questions about the sea spring. Boredom eclipses his amusement in an instant, and he closes his eyes again. Of course you do. I thought I made myself clear what you'd be giving up. Before you kicked me out to go drinking, I still need to know more. My turn for a question. It sounds more like an order than anything else. I bristle under his narrowed gaze. Fine. He takes a long pull from his cigarette and lets the smoke trail slowly from his lips. Your curse. What about it? This song and dance is all too familiar. The selfish questions come first. What does it do? Is it painful? Can you control it? I brace myself for the inevitable onslaught. Is the thought of living with it really so unbearable? My dread dies with his words. No one has asked me that before. You've survived this long? Unless you're running out of time, I'd wonder if it's really worth the sacrifice. He flicks the cigarette aside and props his head on blood-smeared knuckles. But what do I know? I'm just an outsider. My fingers fuss with the trim of my cloak. Ordinarily, I'd feel annoyed, but now my chest just feels tight. You could have sold me if you were less honest. You're a shit salesman. Thought I was a liar. I changed my mind. We lapse into silence again. This time, it's surprisingly nice. The quiet, chilled air is a calming reprieve. You know, you didn't seem like an outsider back at the bar. A lot of people like you. Ice raises his brow at me. I start by asking about grilling time. Alright, I've just checked the clock and it is nearly midnight.
Hi, Motivational. How are you? Welcome, welcome.
At risk of being lynched at the stake, I think I might leave it here, because then that way when we start back up again, like, we'll be able to jump, like, straight into it. Because, like, I have no idea how long this tracks will take. So, yeah, I think here might be a good place to call it. As painful as it is, like, mid combo. Yep. Yeah, I'll admit, like, the cooked is settling in. But honestly, like, we're definitely going to continue this. I want to finish this demo. So either, like, next week or the week after, I absolutely want to continue this. 100%. Alrighty. Right, let's have a look, see who's online. Ooh, this person might be good. But yes. Yeah. Old man gonna have nap.
But yes, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I've had a lovely time getting to try out this game.
And, like, gotta say, like, damn, the writing is amazing. And also, like, damn. The characters are all really, really cool. Like, the world building is top notch. Like, I can really, really see why, like, this game, like, broke Kickstarter, basically. Because, damn. Yeah, so my next stream will be tomorrow night. 9 p.m. AST, because I'm just starting a bit later just for this week. So 9 p.m. AST, so it'll be now minus about 3 hours will be when I start tomorrow night. And I believe we're going to be, let me double check, but I believe it's going to be a rigging stream. Yes. So tomorrow night we're going to be working on some live 2D rigging. Or more accurately, we're going to be doing some mesh prep. So it's just going to be like a nice chatting, mesh trapping, comfy session, you know? But yes, so that's our plans for tomorrow. So with that being said, let me just set up the raid. Alright, make sure I spell it correct. Alright, there we go. So we'll be raiding. Alright, everything set up? Alright, cool. So we'll be raiding the lovely Gleaming Quill, who looks like they've got a new PNG today, which is lovely. And they're playing Dead by Daylight. And you know what? Going from one horror-esque game to another, even though Dead by Daylight isn't about Riz, unless you play the dating simulator,
I figured it's a good jump. Oh my god. But yes. So with that being said, I hope everyone here has an absolutely amazing evening, morning, or night. I am going to go drown myself in the shower, and then I'm going to commit a big sleep. And make sure you hydrate, make sure you get your nibbles, make sure you get your stretch, take care of yourself. Have an amazing time zone, hugs and kisses and everything all around. Thank you, Lassie, I appreciate. And finally, rating in 3, 2, 1. Night night. Mwah.